Yo, what's good, y'all? We back yet again with another video, another trade deadline video, because it is that time of the season. Trade rumors flying around, news flying around everywhere. And you read the title, we're going to be talking about the Washington Wizards and their franchise player Bradley Beal. Because right now the Washington Wizards are 11th in the Eastern Conference, 24-27, and the crazy part was they started off actually really hot to kick off the year. They were 10-3 through 13 games, and ever since then, they have a 14-24 record since that time. And I'm not going to say here, I don't care that they won the game they just played against the Sixers right now, or before I made this video, they won against the Sixers. I don't care. This is one of these situations I think this has to get talked about because, let's be real here, the Wizards aren't a title contender. Their roster is not that bad, but they're not a title contender. And Bradley Beal needs to go. He needs to get traded. I think we all need to realize that Bradley Beal needs to get traded. First of all, there's been drama surrounding the team from when they first started struggling. Guys called out Beal. You had Montrezl Harrell calling him out. Kuzma had a little, something to say. And then you also got the Spencer Dinwiddie contract, which hasn't gone well in year one to start the season. There have been some positives, though. Kyle Kuzma has been having a career season, had another good game. Montrezl Harrell has been playing as well as he was back in his Sixth Man of the Year days in 2020. But I think it may be decision time in DC because Washington has had Bradley Beal for about 8 or 9 years since he got drafted, 2013. And he became their franchise player around 2019. That's when John Wall got hurt and he was really out, and then Bradley Beal took that step. They've only made the playoffs once in the last 3 seasons, which isn't really a long time, so I'm not going to criticize them for that. But the problem is they also haven't been horrible to earn themselves a shot at a top 5 pick. They haven't been horrible. So the problem is they've been in that middle of the pack type of road. They've been in that middle ground with Bradley Beal, and now they got Montrezl Harrell and KCP. And they're winning games, but at the same time they're losing games. And I think they need to go full-on rebuild because they've had Bradley Beal all this time. You can get stuff for him. You can get stuff for Montrezl Harrell. You can get something for KCP. I would look to package those guys in particular. Spencer Dinwiddie also, I would look to package those guys and try to get future assets, especially Bradley Beal. If you trade Bradley Beal, you can get yourself a good young player who's playing right now in the NBA. And then you can also get yourself future first-round picks because Bradley Beal is a star who can help any contender right now potentially move up to that next level and get a team over the hump potentially to become a finals contending team. Me personally, I think it's time to trade him. I would trade him and avoid giving him that over $200 million contract extension in the offseason because that is for sure not the right move for the franchise. It'll be similar to what they did with John Wall, but this one would make even less sense because there's a clear direction that this team has to go in. It's not like they can win now. Unless Washington has plans to bring in a star to help Bradley Beal, which we all know there's a 99.9% chance that ain't happening. So you have to move on from him. The Wizards need to hop on that rebuild bandwagon and stop playing middle of the road, inconsistent basketball because that's not worth their time, their fans' time, and it's not worth wasting Bradley Beal's prime playing this type of basketball. It's just not worth it. It's kind of similar to Damian Lillard's situation in Portland where they've been there their whole career, but now you realize it's time for both sides to move on and call it quits. I get that people want to be loyal, but this is a business at the end of the day, and if you have to get rid of somebody, you have to get rid of somebody. The Wizards, with the pieces that they have now, can end up with some pretty good future assets. I would definitely look to move on from these veteran players. It's just not worth keeping them around. The only guys that I would hold on to right now if I'm Washington is Kyle Kuzma. He's still 25, 26 years old. Thomas Bryant, who had a pretty good year before he tore his ACL, and he's still young. Daniel Gafford is still young. Danny Avdia obviously was drafted last season. Rui Hachimura is still really young. And Corey Kispert's a rookie. Give him a little time, and I would keep those guys and just move on from the guys who can contribute on winning teams. Move on from those veteran guys and acquire picks, acquire younger talent, Yeah, the team is going to suck. Don't get me wrong. The team is going to be horrible. And they might dip all the way down to like that 13 spot in the Eastern Conference. But it's better to have a clear direction of where you're going as a franchise rather than being stuck in the middle and not going anywhere. Because how would it be for Washington if they didn't make a move during the deadline and then they end up winning, let's say, 38 games and they miss the playoffs and they end up with like the 9th or 10th seed? That's an L. That's an L season because you ended up with like the 14th, 13th pick when you could have ended up with a shot anywhere from 5 to 6, 4. You know, you could end up with anything around that area, but instead you're picking 14, 13 again because you are a middle of the ground, middle of the pack team. I think you have to go and rebuild. You have to do it. There's a lot of teams that are in similar situations. Look at the Indiana Pacers. They were like that for years. They finally now realize that they have to go for younger talent, lose. It doesn't matter because right now the product they have on the court just isn't worth trying to go out there and make the playoffs. And that's how I feel about Washington. I think Washington has to do the same thing. It all died down when John Wall left. When John Wall left or got traded to Houston, that's when it all ended. That's when the Washington Wizards' chances of doing anything ended. Bradley Beal's nice. You know, the era of Bradley Beal in Washington was cool. But it's time for a change of scenery for him and for the Wizards. It's best for both sides. You know, if you trade Bradley Beal can go to a contender. He has a shot at a ring. And if you are the Washington Wizards, you got a shot to start over. And you can draft that next franchise guy and build. Because that's what they need to do. They need to look forward to the future. Not now. They have no shot of going to the NBA Finals this season or the season after that unless they had a miracle and some player, some superstar came over to the Wizards, which, like I said earlier in the video, is not happening. Nobody's coming to save them. So if I'm Washington, it's time to realize your team's not that good and it's time to hit that rebuild button. Anyways, that's going to do it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Link will be down in the description below. This has been the checkup where we talk hoops and hoops only. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.